A lot of potential clients ask me, what is my definition of effortless living? And my definition is really about effortless living is the opportunity to actually live life completely in flow without much going on up in the head, i.e. no stress, and it being very peaceful up there, so that everything that you do now becomes completely effortless. See, effortless living isn't about coming to Bali, it's not about living in Spain, it's not about, living in paradise. It's about creating paradise within. It's about being able to actually find that really quiet space within yourself and to listen to that so that you're actually guided by your own wisdom versus being stuck in your intellect and in your head about what you have to do and all the worries and the stresses that you may have as a result. A lot of my clients that come to see me, a lot of their worries are really based around money, being one of them, relationships, another, success, and whether or not they are good enough. So these are the main ones that I see. And as a result of that, that's why I've created these workshops that I run. And these worries seem really real to them, not being able to pay their bills or not making enough money in their business or having real issues with their partners or the family members and not being successful enough. And as a result of that, they get really consumed by all of this stuff, all of this thinking that they don't have what they want. If they could get there, then everything would be fine. And so often what I work with them on is to see that actually the issue isn't that they've got a lot of thinking. The challenge for them is to see what is creating that stress for them in the first place. You see, the minute we think that anything external of us can actually create that stress, that's kind of when we get into trouble. Because we want to change our outside circumstances instead of actually looking within to find peace within. Are these real issues? I would say no, they're not. But to the person that's actually living them, yes, they are. And that's the difference. Because here's the thing. One of the big major stresses I see is around money. And I used to stress a lot about money. And it hit me one day when I got another bill from HMRC that I hadn't paid yet. I looked at the piece of paper and it suddenly occurred to me and I was like, oh my God, these are just numbers on a piece of paper. And I saw it for what it was. I suddenly could see that money is just numbers on a piece of paper. And it really hit me. And at that point, I got to see that my bank balance, the money in my wallet, or the lack of it at the time, couldn't give me that stress. That was all created by myself. Because granted that you'd get somebody else in the same situation as me, receiving HMRC bills, that may not even open up the envelope, put them to one side, or they may just open it up and not get fazed by it at all. So if that's the case, then it would somehow suggest that the bill isn't the issue. And that in fact, what's creating that stress comes from within, and us thinking that somehow that bill has created that stress for us. So we all have daily challenges, right? Like needing to pay our bills, our partner's really annoying us, our baby's screaming, or we've got a client that doesn't want to pay up, or, a bunch of these scenarios. And I'm not saying that effortless living doesn't come with its challenges. That's not really what I'm saying. It's how you relate to the challenges that will make the difference. So I used to spend a lot of time in stress, just like my clients do, around small issues like whether a client would sign up, or, whether I was having an argument with my partner. But what I come to see now is that actually, if I could just take a step back and get some perspective and see that my security and well-being doesn't come from my partner, it doesn't come from the client signing up or not, it doesn't come from whether my stress comes from my baby screaming, it comes from me. And even though it may seem that way, it may seem that the stress is coming from what the other person has done, or, whether the bill's being paid or not, it's actually not the way it works. It's already wrapped up in thought. By the time I'm in that feeling, it's already wrapped up in that thought process in my head. Because you can put somebody else in that same situation and they won't get stressed about it at all. And so, there are many people who have a lot of money that are miserable, and there are a lot of people that have no money that are completely happy. So money, for example, isn't the issue. Same deal with being in a relationship or not. So the minute we can see that our security and well-being isn't wrapped up by something external of us, that comes from within, we're free. Because we're no longer subject to being a victim of how that thing feels, because it's actually not what's causing it in the first place.